What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? It's the OCPD coach. I'm gonna try to make this a quick one. I just did 2-hour videos back to back. I don't record all the time on here. I try to just record every once in a while and turn them into shorts for the upward engagement. But I want to make a video real quick about landing your first job, or landing any job, but landing your first job specifically, because a lot of people are coming out of college and are really confused on what they should be doing. A lot of people are in college and have no idea what they should be doing. So I'm hoping this video can help you. Even if you get one pointer from it, I think it was worth it. But let's just hop right in. I'm trying to make this quick. First things first, I need you to, we always talk about education. I need you to think about experience. Experience. Education is useful, especially for specific degrees. So anything in medical, law, education. I was like, it's another one. And it might be some more specific stuff, such as the sciences. But other than that, you need to be prioritizing your experience over your education. What does this mean? How do you experience? What is that, right? Well, I'm gonna tell you something real quick. There was in the New Yorker, I want to say 2013, there was a writer named Malcolm Gladwell, and he had this quote. So they were talking about chess and the grandmasters of chess, which is, I think, the highest level you can get in chess. And the statement says that chess grandmasters typically have applied a minimum of 10,000 hours to reach the status of grandmaster. And some of them even upward 50,000 hours. So I want to do a real quick calculation. So 265 times 24. So even if you worked every single hour for an entire year, so there's no sleep, no eat, nothing, just worked your entire 1 year, you would only have 6,360 hours worth of experience. So let's say you double that, you go 2 years. 2 years, no sleep, no eating, nothing, every single hour, just working. That gets you to 12,720. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because most of the time, these job descriptions, they'll have something where they require education, but you'll often see or equivalent experience, or 3 to 5 years of experience, 5 to 7, whatever it might be. And many people are getting screwed coming out of college because they don't have any experience. They're literally graduated from college, applying for entry-level jobs, and an entry-level job says you have to have 3 to 5 years of experience. We don't count college as experience. So if a job does not count college as experience, and you're looking for an entry-level role that's not free, then you are basically coming out of college 3 to 5 years behind, which is crazy to think. You're coming out of college behind. So you spent 4 years in college, and then let's just go minimum 3 years. So 7 years you would have needed total to make that equivalence. And I had to really be specific about that equivalence, because sometimes they say college degree or preferred experience, but typically what I see is that they actually prefer the experience. So they actually prefer you to have the experience, the years of experience, because in another section of the job posting, you will see that they say 3 to 5 years experience in this field. So you're better off just getting the experience opposed to focusing on the degree. And I'm hoping this is making sense, because when I finally decided to leave college before I got my first degree, it was conflicting, but to me, it made so much sense. If I'm going to college to get a career and I got a career, why would it make sense to stay in college? I already got what I went there for, right? Now I can go to a job and have them pay for me to go back to school. And I did that twice. So I want you to keep that in mind. So 10,000 hours to become an expert. So what I wanted you to understand is this. If you are trying to become, let's just say, great at something, and let's just say 5,000 hours, we won't even give you the full 6,000. We won't even say you need 10,000 hours. Let's just say you want to become competent enough to do a job and get paid well for it. That's half the time. You can do that in less than a year. But again, That's not counting how many hours that you actually would need per, let me see. So I'm going to change the equation up. Okay, so I changed the equation up. So if you were to do 10 hours a day for a whole year, you would have about 3,650 hours of experience. And that's 10 hours. You can do 12 hours. And I think if you do 12 hours, I'm going to go again, 365. So 12 hours would be around a little over 4,000. So I think that is realistic to where you will want to be. I think if you can get 12 hours a day in for a year at something, I think you actually would set yourself up for success, because then you actually have experience. So even if they don't see a job on there, you should know what you're talking about. Now, I like to go back on this because I have another video I want to make, which is 17-year-olds to 23-year-olds. But I actually would open this up to when you start high school or your second year of high school. So let's say 10th grade. It's hard to know what you want to do for a living, but this is the age where you should really start seriously considering what you might want to do, even if you want to get multiple options. And what I would recommend is coming up with a list of different jobs that you might want to work and considering what the requirements or the required experience might be for a role like that. And when I say that, I mean, what tools are they using? If it's software, if it's different soft skills they require, figure out what it is. Just find some of those common skills that they require, put them on a list and start working on them in high school. Because then by the time you get out of high school and you get to college, you can start yourself. So what I actually recommend as my next step is starting up an LLC. And this LLC can be something generalized, like a general all-encompassing LLC, or it could be something specific to the work that you are actually doing. And this is not nursing, this is everything but that. So for instance, if it's marketing, you can start up an LLC marketing firm. You can see what requirements are there. Like now you have tools like ChatGPT and all these different things. See what requirements exist for a marketing business, and everything that you do from then on needs to go up under the LLC as experience. So that means if you have an LLC and you decided that you wanted to do a project, create a social media account for somebody at your school, and let's say you charge them a little bit of money, nothing too crazy. Actually apply that to your LLC as business, so you can use it as experience in the portfolio for the business. What this does is now when you go on your resume, so if you go to college and you graduate from college with a 4-year degree in marketing and you go apply for a job, instead of it just saying you have a degree in the field, you can also say I have a degree plus I have 4 years of experience because you started that LLC when you were a freshman in college. And that LLC is experience because you were doing the work. So this is another misconception is industry experience, work experience. Industry experience, a lot of times you'll see it with video game companies. They want people who have done games and released games for AAA companies. That's a whole different topic. I actually don't recommend getting into the video game world as a career anyways. I think it's a setup because I just don't recommend it. It's a bunch of reasons, probably for a different video, but I don't think it's stable. I recommend that you do this because as work experience and industry experience, this is industry experience. This is an LLC that was formed legit. You legitimately formed the LLC, and you have experience of you doing the work. Now you can disclose that you own it, but what I would recommend is for whatever job you're applying for, that you actually put the title of the job that you're applying for as the job that you did at the company, as long as it's relevant and true. Because as a business owner, you're going to wear multiple hats. So for my gaming business, my business, my LLC, I do video games, coaching, all different types of things under it. And for whatever my application needs, if I'm putting an application in, it's going to be adjusted to that. So I had to do software engineering, that would fit. If I had to do marketing, that's going to fit. If I had to do 3D modeling, that's going to fit. If I had to do business management, it's going to fit. Everything fits because I had to wear all those hats. So it's not a lie. It's actually the truth. But you have to sell yourself. Like this is when you submit yourself for a job, you're selling yourself. Most of the time, these companies have many people applying for them. Why should they choose you? That's the question you got to answer. Why should they choose me? So yeah, go ahead and do the LLC. And it's not much. I think it's about $50, $150 for the first application. Then you have to pay something every year for an annual review. And then you make sure you file taxes with that business. So everything that you have that you are making income wise, you have to make sure you're applying the taxes correctly and then writing off deductibles. So, doing write-offs. Sorry, I've been talking for like 3 hours. Then writing off the deductions. So if there are expenses that you have for the business that qualify, make sure you get credit for those, because then that takes down your tax liability where you don't owe as much. So all these things, you have to consider all these things. But I'm telling y'all, this is the formula that I wish I would have known. I want them being good, but if I would have known this, I would have started my LLC back when I became a freshman in college. And anything I did, anything I worked on would have went under that LLC. And then when I went to apply for companies, I would have had my company, whatever it is, on the application as my job experience so that they can see that I've actually done it. And the biggest thing to selling this is what I mentioned to be the portfolio. The portfolio. People, you can say that you started a business as a freshman, but when it comes down to them verifying if you actually have the skills that you say you have, they need to see it. So this is where the portfolio is beneficial. You keep a record of all of your work. And as you get better, get rid of the crappy stuff. You keep it where you can see it, but they can't see it. But you show the best work that you've done with dates and who you did it for. And what that will allow you to do is have a tangible example to say, hey, not only did I start this business, I can show you what I did for this business right here. And that is what these companies want to see. They want to see that you actually can do what you say you can do, because many people say they can do it. And many people go get degrees, even from Full Sail. I got my first degree from Full Sail in game art. And I think I'm a talented 3D artist. But there are some 3D artists that are so much better than I am, that never went to school. And then you have 3D artists who went to get the degree I got and a master's in it and are worse than me. So just because you have a degree does not mean anything anymore. A lot of times that's just a way to get into the door, right? That's just what opens the door, cracks it. But the experience is what allows somebody to grab your hand and say, okay, come on in. That's what you need, is the experience. So I'm giving y'all a game and none of this is illegal, by the way. You can form an LLC. As long as you legally form the LLC and submit the paperwork through the company that you should be your local state's business, and you're following business regulations, that's not a problem at all for you to start that LLC. All right. All right. So I got that. I got a list. I'm trying to make sure I'm prepared for you guys. So another thing, I mentioned keeping records. Another thing I would say is building a public paper trail, or something visually where people can see what you're working on at all times. So you have LinkedIn, you have YouTube, you have Twitch. I used to always stream when I was unemployed for a minute. I will always stream my video games, so that my video game development, so that people could see me working. They could see me using Maya. They could see me using Visual Studio. They could see me using Unreal Engine. They could see me using Substance Painter and Photoshop and Premiere. I wanted people to see my skills. So that's the same thing you should be doing. If you're jobless, you need to be posting on Twitch, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube all the time about what you're doing. And you can automate a lot of these deployments, especially with AI, where you can upload something to Twitch, have it go from Twitch to YouTube with like Opus Clip, and then from YouTube go to Opus Clip, and Opus Clip can automatically turn everything you did into shorts, and you can distribute that to LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube and multiple devices at one time and schedule them out So you'll see I do that with my channel. A lot of my videos, you might be like, man, this is from the same video and he's been releasing this for the past 4 months. That's because I took one video and I generated 20 or 30 shorts and published them to come out every single week, because I know I don't have time to sit and make content every week. I don't have the ability to do it. So that's what I did to help myself. Like, use these tools, use AI tools to actually help you with productivity. All right. A next thing that's good for your personal brand is showing yourself in public somehow. So I'm in a group, Toastmasters. I'm in church. I'm involved in different things. They have different business meetings you can go to. But you want to get pictures at events, dressed up with people, mingling, showing that you are social, that you are not the type of person who is afraid to talk to people, that you are, show how you would represent their company, the way you're representing your company. So this is really, really important. And I didn't add a note here, but it's really important. Social media, scrub it. Scrub it. The only social media I keep that I post on is Facebook and LinkedIn. Facebook I mainly post on because I have family on there, family and friends. And LinkedIn, I have Instagram too. I don't post on Instagram. Oh, and TikTok. I post on TikTok every once in a while. But everything I post is related to my business. For the most part, it's related to my business or my professional relationships or experience or lifestyle. So you'll never see pictures of me with weapons, even though I legally own weapons. You'll never see pictures of me with drugs and alcohol. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. You'll never see pictures of me with my pants sagging and stuff, because I don't dress like that. The way I carry myself is how I carry myself everywhere. So if you carry yourself professionally in real life, then you'll naturally carry yourself professionally on social media. But keep your social media professional. I don't do all the swearing, cut the swearing out, all the extra stuff that makes you look unprofessional, drop it. Your profile pictures, make them look professional on LinkedIn. Go, if there's companies that you're looking at and you see the people that are in the positions you want to be in, look at their profile pictures and their profiles and see how you can emulate as much of it as you possibly can. That's look at what people are doing to win and adapt to it. Follow it. It's working for a reason. You'll see a lot of the same traits. If you ever look at my LinkedIn picture, it's me like this with my suit. And I changed my picture because I was like, oh, okay. So if I want to move up in these companies or move in different circles, then I need to make sure my picture does not stand out as the one who clearly does not belong in the group. And that's what I did, is I adapted my profiles and adjusted my presentation. So make sure you are really mindful. Don't post on social media crazy stuff. Use correct English, especially when you're posting. Actually type full sentences. Don't get too personal. You never know who's looking at your page. Don't get too personal. Don't get too into details. Don't post drama. Keep all drama out. It's so many different things that people don't adhere to with the regulations of how you should manage your social media. And companies will see it and not even say anything to you. You won't even know that your page is a red flag. They just won't talk. They just won't tell you or won't reach out to you. They'll be like, oh no, look at him. He's holding up they're holding up a middle finger in their picture. We don't want them in our company. Oh no, look at how wild she looks in this picture with 7 bottles of alcohol on the table and 2 red Solo cups. It's little stuff like that that you don't even think companies care about, but they'll see it and not say anything about it. So if you really want to get a job, and I'm not talking about just any job, I'm talking about a possible career, then you need to really make sure everything is aligned. Another thing that is not as talked about, I think I might be one of the only people that really talks about this, but update your email address. If you have your business, then create a business email address, and then also have a separate personal email address that you use for recruiters. The personal email address, I like this format. This is what I do. I do Reach Shannon Williams. Simple. Do the same thing. Reach your full name or contact your full name. Something to that extent. Drop the numbers, drop the nicknames, drop the characters, drop all of the extra stuff and keep it simple. And what you wind up figuring out, I actually got this compliment so many times where I would give my email address to be like, oh my goodness, that's so professional. That's so simple, so easy to remember. So many times that it made me think, well, why didn't nobody ever tell me this? It was just something one day I said, I want to update my email address from being this email. And then I started getting more emails from recruiters. So update your email address. That's one of the first things I do with my clients is I have them update their email address and update their resume, and we go through it together. So definitely update your email address. All right, next thing I have on here is, this is part of networking. This is huge. The job I have now, I got the internship from networking, and I got the official offer letter 3 years ago from networking. So it was the same thing, just different ways. So first thing I would say is this. If you have companies that you want to work for, I like to say identify 5 companies and then follow at least 10 recruiters for each company. These can be senior recruiters. I love to follow senior and executive recruiters for companies because they always have the best job postings, it seems. I follow them, and then I follow the standard recruiters, associate recruiters. I forgot what it's called. But follow these individuals, the directors of recruiting. Follow them. Follow at least 10. At least 10. You can follow more, but at least 10 for 5 companies that you have identified to work at that you know would be a good fit for you also. And when you follow these recruiters, I actually recommend that you follow and connect with them on LinkedIn. And if you need a good standard LinkedIn message to send that's not spammy for the connection, I would say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it might be. Insert person's name here. Hope all is well with you today. I came across your profile and I have interest in learning more about your company. Is it possible that we can just connect so I can stay updated on your news feed and potentially reach out from time to time about different things? You can adjust it. Like, actually take that and adjust it. I was trying to make it up on the fly, but things sounds unprofessional. But I wouldn't even say reach out from time to time. Just if I could just follow and stay up to date on different job postings that you might have. Something as simple as that. Or different opportunities at your company. Something that's professional, simple, not pushy, not asking for stuff. Because the number one thing to turn somebody off from connecting with you on LinkedIn is if you go in asking for anything. Especially if they have no idea who you are. And you instantly go, hey, can you help me get a job? Hey, I really want to work there. Can you help me get a job? Never do that. That is a red flag. Even for people like me, I'm not even a recruiter. But when I get messages from people, a lot of times I won't even take the time to read them because for me, it just seems like I'm getting forced into something that I honestly don't even know this person. And I would rather them just connect and be genuine. And then eventually, if you see a job posting, you reach out and say, hey, this job posting is open. Can you help me out with more information about it? But when people just instantly come in asking, it's just very entitled, and you don't want to rub people the wrong way. You really want to ease into relationships. That's the benefit. That is the successful way that I have found with networking. Is you go in, you ease in. They have postings on LinkedIn. Engage with the postings. Like it, comment, share it, repost it. Ask questions on the post that are relevant to the post. Just engage with them. And over time, you'll gain their trust, or you might gain their favor, or they might think and say, hey, we have a position we're hiring for. And I know somebody who kept talking about who popped up and they have a background in this. And that's the type of person that we should bring in because I see what they're doing. That's the other thing. The reason why I say I want you to connect with these individuals instead of just following them. I know I said follow, but I meant connect, is because when you have that public paper trail I mentioned, they will be able to see it. Now it connects the dots. The people who you want to work for, you're connected with, can also see your activity, and you should be creating activity and content where they can see what you're doing. So they can literally see your work. And then once you get them to like one thing, you basically, once you get them to like one thing, that means you've got their attention. And that's one of the biggest things to do when you're trying to get a job is get a recruiter's attention. They can't will the job into existence for you. However, they can be very beneficial in helping you navigate what you need to do to become a good fit for the company. Another thing that I would recommend is, and this is nearing the end of the video, apply for internships. A lot of jobs have internships that people are not aware of that pay and give you a foot into the door. And many times the qualifications for internships are less than those of an entry-level position. So I started as an intern at both companies that I started at, and eventually converted from intern to full-time employee. But had I just gone the full-time employee route, I wouldn't have been able to qualify for that without the internships, because it required so many years of experience in a certain field. And they would have had no reason to take a chance on me to say this person could learn these things. They wouldn't have known that. So always do internships. And the next thing is always apply on the company site. Indeed, I don't use Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Glassdoor, LinkedIn applications. None of those sites have ever gotten me a job. What has gotten me jobs is applying directly to the company site. And many times what I notice is that you can, these job posts, they'll repost these jobs, and then you can click on the job itself. On the post, and apply immediately. And if you do that and you say you apply to a job from one of the recruiters, then that's an opportunity to me to message them, as long as you've engaged with them, and say, hey, thank you so much for posting the job opportunities that you posted. I did catch one that caught my eye. Send the name of the job and say, I just got done submitting my resume and my portfolio. I hope to hear back. Something as simple as that, which is not asking them for anything, but it's showing that you have taken the initiative to not only apply, but also reach out to them. And another thing I put in here is cover letters. I don't know about cover letters and other people's experience with them, but the one time I did do a cover letter, it was actually praised and appreciated. And I think it's because of how I did the cover letter. When I had the job that I have now and I applied for the official position, so after my internship, I had to apply for the official position, and it was a different team. It was different technology stacks. And I actually, when I put the application in, I had the opportunity to do a cover letter. So I'd never done one before, but what I did was every single requirement that they had for that job, I listed every single one out in bullet points, and then I did sub bullet points under every single one, explaining why I would be a good fit. And if it was something related to experience, I actually did 2 categories. I said my professional industry experience. So those are other Fortune 500 companies. And I listed one that says personal experience or personal project experience. And I detailed even more. And I gave paragraphs for each of those, so that when they saw it, they didn't have to try to imagine what I would be like learning about a certain topic. They actually got to see, okay, he has used this tool to do this before. So these are just things that a lot of times, I've never heard it. There are a lot of people who might make videos like this that can help you get jobs and this and that. This is not a guaranteed method. However, I will tell you this has worked for me. These things have worked for me, and they have also worked for my clients that I have. One of my clients that I actually helped get a job recently, he came in and his mom was very connected, and this is why network comes in. She was very connected with somebody who was a recruiter at the company he wanted to work at. So what I had him do was update his email address. We went over his entire resume, updated his resume, and updated his focus, because he was all over the place as far as what he wanted to apply for. So we honed in on it, and then he was able to take all of that and send it over, and then he got the job. Now he's a software engineer, DevOps software engineer. So it's possible. These jobs do want to hire people. It's just they need the visibility. They need to see you. And the easier you can make it to make yourself stand out and be visible, the more roadblocks you can get rid of. So getting rid of the college roadblock, getting rid of the experience roadblock with the LLC, the easier you make it for yourself. And ultimately, you will be able to land a position, even if it's not paying what you want. But you don't, I guess, let me add one more point. One more point I want to add. School. This is such an interesting one for me, because I've gone to 3 different colleges, actually 4 or 5. When I first started school, I didn't finish because they didn't have the degree program I wanted, which was game development. I went and got a full-time job, so I left school for that. And they paid for me to go back to school doing video game development, so I went back to a different school, got my degree there. So then when I left video game development and I started software engineering, I didn't have a degree in software engineering. I was doing the job, but now that I'm ready to get promoted and move up in the company, they required that I have a degree or 11 years of experience. I don't have 11 years of experience. So I decided to go ahead and go back to college and get the degree. So I'll be getting this degree next week. More than likely next week. My last class is, I'm waiting on them to sign off on it now. But once I get this degree, now I can move up. So I didn't go and spend all of this money on college. I actually had my college for the most part paid for by the jobs that I was working at, the careers I was working at, because they do tuition reimbursement. So I want y'all to keep that in mind. The goal while you're in college, if you're not going for one of those really specialized fields I mentioned earlier, is to get a job as early as possible that does tuition reimbursement so that you can get paid to go to school instead of having to be in debt when you get out of school and in a worse situation. Because student loans are horrible, horrible crooks. Is it crooks? I never use that word, but I want to say crooks around your neck. It's a horrible thing that you can have, like a noose around your neck while you're in the world. And you don't want to have that if you can help it. So the goal, go to college, try to get a degree that will pay you well, that you can see the results from being long term, and that you have evidence of paying you well. And while you're there, try to get an internship or a job. Like constantly, job fairs, internships, stay in contact, get the contact information, contact cards when you go to job fairs of the people that you interact with, and email them every once in a while. Email them a Merry Christmas or a Happy Holiday, even if you don't get a job there, and say, hey, I hope all is well. Can we chat? Can we connect for a coffee one of these days, a virtual coffee if you need to do it virtually, and try to set up meetings where you can meet with individuals and talk more about, get them to open up, and it gets you to open up so they can know more about you. It's about people. A lot of this stuff is about people, but you got to get to that. You have to get to that people place with credentials, with experience. And the best way to do that is through all of the steps that I listed here. So I hope it was helpful. Again, it might feel challenging in this market right now. A lot of people are losing jobs, and I would recommend that just as much work as you are putting into the job, you put into your LLC. You start trying to make money and figure out what products you can make. Services are cool, but services require a lot of your time. And if you can get into making products, then the products can make money even when you are working on other stuff. So really try to learn about products that you can make, as well as services that you can offer if needed. But that's all I got, y'all. I hope y'all have a good one. I'll talk to y'all later. Keep fighting for your life. Peace.